passe super, l'artiste, super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De er i semifinale igjen!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Uninformed Handball Hour. It's Chris O'Reilly here, and although we're in the summer now, well and truly, there's still plenty of handball to talk about. We've got the Champions League draw for next season. We've got World Championship qualifiers, World Championship wildcards everywhere, transfers, and all that is coming next week, though, as we'll bring back the full crew for Indoor Chat next week, because we're going to chat a little more beach handball today to talk the end of the World Championship last Sunday and everything that happened in Greece. Once again, we have the one and only Dr. Beach Handball, Marcio Menino. Marcio, how are you?
Hey, Chris, I'm good. Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me once again.
It's a pleasure to have you. And, no better man to talk beach handball. We spoke last week after the first day of action. Already a lot had happened then, but over the next 5 days, plenty of interesting results along the way. We have two champions at the end of it. Germany in the women's competition, Croatia in the men's competition. Which one do you want to start with?
Definitely Germany.
Okay, Germany.
Because we know them, we have them in the show in the Bulgaria, and it's really fun to watch them coming from we don't know what's happening to, oh my God, we're world champions.
That was definitely the case yesterday, I think, in that final. Germany had just been so brilliant throughout the entire competition. I didn't see every single one of the games, but every game I saw them play, they won it 2-0. And let me just confirm if that it was the case, right? Every single game, 9 matches over 6 days, they won 2-0, and that is just phenomenal.
That's a undefeated championship right there. Something that probably happens like 0.01% at any competition whatsoever. Like one team going to the final with just 2-0 wins. I think that's a case for the records of history,
Yeah.
I don't think that it will happen ever again.
They were pretty dominant at the European Championship last year, but nothing in comparison to how they've been this time. And, for those of you who don't follow too much beach handball and listening to the podcast here, 2-0 is something that every team obviously strives for when they're the favorites in a game, because beach handball can be so tricky in that sense, because it goes back to 0-0 at the start of the second set, and all your good work from the first set doesn't count for anything unless you get the job done in the second set. Otherwise, you go to a shootout, and then anything can happen. So that threat of the shootout is what makes beach handball at times so unpredictable. So Germany going all the way 2-0 the whole way, not having to face one shootout, really says a lot for how dominant they were overall. We spoke about it last week with their victory over Brazil. And, well, in the final against Spain, though, it was not dominant. That's for sure.
Close. You could say that luck favors those who risk, those who really fight for it. And I think that in that moment, in those 2 sets that they won by golden goal, it was something like that, because one of the golden goals was actually the goalkeeper from Germany saving a shot from Spain and giving a chance to her team to get that part.
Well, that was it. That was that first set. And I wrote to you saying, this is absolute chaos, because at first, both attacks, who are usually so good, really just weren't finding anything. I think it was, 4-4 after 4 or 5 minutes of that first set. Then it started to pick up a little bit. But you have to give a lot of credit as well to the two goalkeepers, Katharina Filter from Germany, and you're going to be able to pronounce the Spanish goalkeeper's name. Is it Patricia Encena? who's the Spanish keeper. Yeah.
Encinas Guardado. Yeah. Encinas.
And both of them were brilliant. Both defenses really good as well. And yeah, went down to that golden goal. Germany with an attacker foul first, and then the save from the Spanish attack. So usually when you win the ball in the tip off for the golden goal, it's like, okay, we've won it. But there, both teams had a chance before Germany finally put it away.
Sometimes people forget that you always attack with advantage. You're always 4 against 3. If you do not score one single goal like they do in indoor, first of all, probably great effort from defense and goalkeeper, or in this case was an attacking foul, like you said. So defense was really, really into it, but it's always 4 against 3. It has to be an extreme effort from the defense to make you do a mistake. We're not talking about interception or a block or a save from the goalkeeper. It's actually an attacking foul, a forced error. So hooray for Spain, like they did their job, but then they couldn't do it in the attack. That was unfortunate for them.
Yeah. So losing that first set 15-14. Second set, though, much, much better. Both teams getting into the 20s. But it looked like Germany had won the set clearly. They were 4 points up with a minute left to play, and they had the ball in their hands, and they give the ball away twice. All of a sudden, maybe a little bit of the youth coming into it. And I got a message there from Lucy Marie Kretschmar talking about that final and talking about how chaotic it was. And she was like, yeah, that was a bit too much chaos for my little heart to take. And so it was. And Germany almost blowing it again, having that 4-point lead and the possession, giving the ball away twice, and in the end had to go to the golden goal or the golden point yet again.
Yeah, true. I cannot imagine. I would love to see Alex's face, the coach from Germany, just tripping from those two balls. You probably went ballistic. You went like, "Oh my God, this is not happening." But yeah, it's a great effort, a great deed by Germany. They did amazing in the entire tournament, and unfortunately for Spain, I have, as you know, I have a lot of friends in both teams, especially in Spain because they're my neighbors, and usually we make fun of it. But yeah, but at least they got some individual awards. Silver medal is not too bad, although some people say it's the last. Silver medal, some individual awards. They did great. They did a growing performance during the entire World Championship. They lost a couple of times with other teams, but they grew in the tournament and they reached the final and nobody was thinking about it. I don't think a lot of people were betting on Spain on women's side to get to the final.
That is true. And so fair play to them. And also for pushing the champions so close as well. I mean, yeah, it didn't go to a shootout, but you can't ask for much more than, losing both sets in a golden point. So heartbreaking stuff, but yeah, fair play to them. And bronze going to the Netherlands, who had a bit of a shock result in the quarterfinals, beating Denmark in a brilliant quarterfinal, winning that one in a shootout. Then, naturally enough, losing to Germany in the end fairly straightforward in the semi-finals, but they bounced back to beat the former world champions and the host, Greece.
Netherlands had this up and down tournament. There are a lot of teams that they can really smash because of the way, the tempo they use, the speed that they use in the game, and then there's those other more cunning teams that actually know how to work that speed and use it against the Netherlands. And it was kind of like this, their tournament was somewhat like that, but they got the bronze and it's amazing for them. And it's really good because they probably go to the World Games, and it's well-deserved prize for Netherlands, seeing indoor growing and also now in the beach handball, this growth from them. Great. Love to see that.
And a final word on the women's side for Portugal on their debut. You know them very well. One of the teams that came closest to getting a set against Germany. They lost the second set in the quarterfinals, 10-8 in a really low-scoring one. Finishing in the top 8 in their first attempt, really good going.
It's true. I think it's for us. It's a great achievement. First time we go to the World Championship and we get on top 8 of the best teams in the world. Like I told you, Chris, and I told before, I think Portugal has enough team to win at least one set against any team. And we won against Denmark. That's one of the examples that we can give. Almost won as against Germany, like you said, 10-8. It's true that we kind of probably we lack some offensive. We know, because some of the teams have like really tall players and it's kind of hard for us. We always have to go for spin shot or try to have our specialists going in a 4-line against to occupy that open space. But the truth is, although our defense is not very tall, I don't know if they love the expression, but they use it a lot. We have this hound dogs, for hunting. And it's lovely to see them hunt the attackers. They are tireless. They do not get tired, and it's amazing to watch them for 20 minutes just beating that attack, going for interceptions, stealing balls, stuff like this. Because usually we go for more like blocks and trying to go through the open space, but here we're seeing like a really aggressive defense trying everything to stop you from passing, to stop you from shooting, to stop you from doing anything. And it's I think it's one of the things that for this team we can work on that, and then just make it even more powerful than it is, and just grow on the attack, because we need a little more of offensive power. And and then maybe we can go for some medals, in the future. Who knows?
Well, it's I think a positive start, as you said, for them at the world level. You mentioned some of the individual awards as well. Just running through those quickly, the all-star team for the women's competition. The goalkeeper was Spain's Patricia Encinas. The right wing was Emilia Müllmann from Germany, who was fantastic. Their main scoring threat. Netafini Dimitri from Greece was the best left wing. The specialist from Argentina, which is great as well, also a top 8 finisher, Lucila Candela. Asun Batista, who many beach handball people would know very well, the best line player from Spain. Rihanna Moll from the Netherlands, the best defender. Congratulations to Rihanna. And Asun Batista, the MVP as well of the entire competition. Hungary got the Fair Play Award, which was nice for them, and what was otherwise, I think, a tournament they won't be happy with. They finished outside of the quarterfinals. Yeah, they were knocked out in the first round. That group of death we talked about last week, they were the team to be eliminated from that. And finally, the top goal scorer from the USA, one for the US listeners, we have Christine Mansour. Well done.
Well done, Christine. Well done. It's great to see like some US there, and also some North America there. And like you said, Hungary was not the tournament for them. They're renewing their team now with some youngsters coming from that they were European champions in 2019 in Montenegro. Some of them already, like the goalkeeper Afra and stuff of that. So they're now renewing their national team, and probably they were lacking some connection between them. So yeah, and like you said, group of that, we talked about it, and it was like really tough for them. But hey, for Christine, she usually very she likes to hang out and know more about beach handball, and definitely I saw their first match, and then I sent a message and I said, your coach needs to put you on line player, not on the right wing. You won't do anything on the right wing. Just play line. And she said, I think she's now understanding that. And yeah, top scorer.
Coach Marcio Menino in action again. Well, there you go. Work the treat. And so you've seen her in EBT action over the last couple of months, right?
Yeah, she was in EBT. Although in the EBT, like she had this... She went to practice with some of her national team players, 3 or 4 for this Italian team. Not the best Italian team, kind of lacking on all around everything, But at least they managed to do something, and I think they managed to perform what they wanted, which was like physical practice and also some tactical one between them and with the coach trying to learn also some European style of tactics and stuff. So it was good. It was good. Maybe next month they get more competition.
Absolutely, at the World Games in Alabama. So that's plenty on the women's side. How we go on to the men. And you said earlier there about, let's say, the onus on teams attacking to score. That basically, when you're 4v3, that you need to find a way to score. On the men's final, that was definitely the case. Definitely the case for every single second of that game, I thought, between Croatia and Denmark, where it felt like every single attack there was this overwhelming pressure to score, because if you don't, the other team is not going to miss and you're going to lose the set. That's how it felt.
It's always like that when you reach this top level of two great teams. They went against each other in the Euro, as you remember, and it was really a really intense match at the time. And now at the World Championship they do it again, and it's really, if people want to see what beach handball is and how intense it can be, and now suspense can like be on top for 20 minutes, they should watch kind of matches like this. It's definitely something that should be embraced by every beach handball lover. Just watch it, enjoy it, and cheer for whatever you want, but cheer for beach handball, because that's it. Both teams were amazing in this final.
Yeah, and so in very different ways as well. The feeling I got during the game was, and in the end, Croatia won 2-0, winning 24-22 in the first set, 21-18 in the second set. And Croatia were just scoring with a little bit more ease. They were finding the passes a little bit more easy, whereas Martin Vilstrup in the center of the Danish attack, who is so good at making things work for the team, he really had to work hard. Like, he was going everywhere in the court trying to create these little gaps, and the Croatian defense were fantastic in cutting it down and making them work hard. And they had their chances, Denmark. Unfortunately, just couldn't get enough stops at the other end of the court, whereas Croatia's goalkeeper had a brilliant game. That was Dominik Markovic. And then Nikola Finek, Lucian Bura, and Ivan Dumencic, who's one of the old boys in the team, they just couldn't stop scoring. The three of them scored every single point except for 1 2-pointer. And yeah, it was a real lesson in how to win a final from a team that has played in so many finals. Even though there's new players in the team, there is that like generational knowledge in the Croatian team.
Chris, I talked with Yuta for a few times, and I saw him how they work before matches, like the day before they go and analyze videos, and they go and analyze the strategy, the tactics. And usually they work from defense to attack, not from attack from defense. They don't care too much about the attack. They know where to go, but they care a lot for defense, because they know that if they can manage to stop at least one, then they can take time, and they can take their time, as you said, with some calm, some tranquility, to find the gap that they need to score. So that's why they always focus a lot on defense. And of course, with Yuta in your team, defense is something that is going to be really pumped up. But like you said, like 3 guys scored this huge amount of goals for this, and it was a 2-0. Yeah, it was a 2-0, but definitely a really short 2-0, like for 2 points only. 24-22 first set, 21-18. That clinical 1 goal in the last minute, just to close, just to stop them from getting the draw. But if you go and analyze the shot efficiency, you can see that Croatia was really, really efficient, especially in specialist. Specialist was 100%. Specialist scored all the goals that he shot. Although in Denmark we have 60%. And in flight, which Denmark usually is very strong. You remember that European where the playmaker just throwing balls, guided balls, always almost like a basketball player. And this time he wasn't around, so he couldn't be throwing basketball shots to his teammates, to the left wing and to Simon Moss. So you have this in-flight shot efficiency of 46%, because the Croatians knew that if they stopped the in-flight, they would be able to counter and have their win. And that's what they did. They don't care too much about the spin shot. Usually only Lucian goes for spin shot, or the line player when it's a second rebound, when it's a rebound, when they cannot attempt the in-flight shot. And it is a masterclass of defense going up against Denmark. And like you said, Vilstrup was running all the court. And for people that run in the sand during these games, just 3 meters running to substitution is already a big effort. Can you imagine going around the entire court, trying to find your teammates to give them the assists for them to score, and then getting out, running again so they can substitute? So I imagine that Vilstrup just not died, but kind of collapsed after this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point about not having Joachim Trend is the player who you were talking about there, the playmaker who has his own special style of two-handed drops into the line into Simon Muss. Also didn't have Martin Vilstrup's brother Ronnie in defense because he got a direct red card in the semi-final against Brazil. So that's a real loss for them. And all things considered, you have to say they did very well. Of course, they would have been devastated to lose that final, but when you consider what they've, what they managed to get there and missing the players they have, they'll feel like maybe a world title at the World Games next month is still within their reach.
And another thing, Chris, is that Croatia didn't participate. No Croatian club participated in the EBT finals. They spent 1 month practicing for this World Championship. So winning the gold is kind of we prepare for this. Imagine if they didn't win, probably oh my God, we spent so much time working for it and then didn't get squat. But and Denmark was doing something like the opposite. Both teams that won the World Championship actually didn't participate in the finals. Both teams spent more time of training together than going for a club's international competition. So that can mean something or mean nothing. We don't have enough tests for that. So doesn't matter.
Yeah. So a couple of other teams you talked about last week, USA was one of them. They missed out in the quarterfinals with what was a bit of a disastrous day and a half for them, because they finished their preliminary round group pretty well, finishing in second place, but then lost a shootout against Uruguay, which really set them on a path then to miss the quarterfinals, because then losing to Croatia in the end, 2 really close sets again, and then losing to Spain in the final game of the group, that meant they just missed out. In the end, turned out to be a very, very tough group in there. Uruguay doing incredibly well. Also, they kind of came not out of nowhere, but getting to the quarterfinals like that, they were unlucky to come up against Denmark in the quarterfinals. Greece, who, as we said, looked pumped up and looked like a different team this time around. They ended up getting to the semi-finals as well, but lost to Brazil in the bronze medal game. And New Zealand, who we have to say congratulations to them, not picking up just their first victory, but picking up 2 victories as well. They beat Puerto Rico, first of all, in the consolation round, and then beating Egypt as well in the placement matches, which I think is very impressive.
Which they lost in the main round against.
Yeah.
So losing. It's just so everybody, all the listeners here understand that sometimes you may win, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win the next game. And as you can see, New Zealand lost 2-0 against Egypt in the main round, but then in the consolation round they won. So they were involved for New Zealand.
There you go. They were involved in a very interesting game, really fun game to watch against the USA as well, which they lost by a single point in the shootout. So yeah, good stuff from them. And just looking at the top scorers here, Paul Ireland, we have to give him a shout out because of his name. And also, we had his brother Luke on the podcast earlier this season because he was playing for Sydney at the Super Globe. So Paul Ireland, fourth top scorer in the competition with 135 points. Other names in the...
It's really good.
It's really good. And he's a brilliant young player. Someone who played out in the left wing and on the line as well. Really good spin shooter. And another team, we said, I did say they were going to win a game. I didn't think they'd win 2 games this week, but they managed it. And full of confidence for them going to the World Games next month in the USA. In what is a real dive into the deep end for a team that hadn't played an international match for 2 years before that. And but here they are, they're doing their thing, and it's amazing to see.
It will be fun for them and also for us, It's a very enjoyable type of match. Yeah, and then they have this cultural thing about
with the haka as well. Yeah,
the haka also. Yeah,
gotta say, New Zealand teams doing the haka in handball has, I think, drawn mixed reactions over the years. But those group of men doing it, like, that is a real fitting haka. They belong at this level. Let's just say in terms of the body size, their athleticism. They, I think, have given people a few surprises this week, which is good to see. And hopefully that, alongside what Australia men and women have done over the years as well, is a good sign for beach handball in the region. Awards then. Goalkeeper was Simon Saya from Denmark. Best right wing was Lucian Burra, who was also the top scorer and the MVP. He's a real, not even a rising star anymore. He's just a star for the team.
No, it is amazing how he grew when he had some weakness. Some stuff in his game was not very strong, very kind of weak, but he was able to, overcome that, and now just like almost an unstoppable player,
Left wing, Georgios Eleftheriadis from Greece. Martin Vilstrup, the best specialist. Best pivot, Gil Perez, the man who...
Gil Perez.
Gil Perez.
Vai Brasil!
Gil Perez is just an evergreen man. I don't know how old is he? Who knows? Who cares? Like, he just seems to keep going.
Yeah, he's just older than me and you, so that's what you need to know.
That's yeah. That's all that matters. Well, all that matters is he can keep playing, and he can keep playing well. Best line player in the whole competition. Jeppe Willemsen, best defender from Denmark. As I mentioned before, Lucian Burra, the MVP. And Norway getting the Fair Play Award. Also a quarterfinal spot for them. They were pretty impressive, but ended up finishing in 8th. A bit of a fall off for them as the tournament went on, but still not a bad result whatsoever.
I think Norway now probably hates Portugal like really, really hard, because we beat them twice when it mattered. One in the Euro and now in the World Championship. Mm-hmm. And they're probably like looking at us like, dudes, we're gonna smash it next time. So we need to be careful now. We need to be careful.
Yeah. And what do you think about Portugal? 10th place on the men's side?
Yeah. As a Portuguese, I wanted more. For the first time, it's not bad. But I realized that when I was watching the games and stuff, I was like, no, we play so much better than this. We just didn't, we weren't able to perform or keep calm where we needed. Those small details during the game that you need really like to stop and think what you're doing, and we weren't able to do that. Unfortunately, we need to think about this. I did some talks, and I have no problem with talking with the national coach about this, because we usually talk almost every week or so. Definitely, there needs a change in the Handball Federation, that our competition calendars need to finish at the latest 30th of May. We need to end 30th May, and allow the players to get out of indoor and start practicing beach handball so we can have better performances, so we can do better in international competitions. We are still having games in the middle of June. Simon Santos, the line player for Portugal, he had to skip one day of the days with the national team to do one game. Yeah, to do one indoor game and then go back again to the sand. And I think this is something that we need to change. We need to allow players to do indoor and also beach, especially in the first division, as there are players from even from the youngsters like U18 that Benfica, Porto, and Sporting do not allow them to play beach handball, which doesn't make sense whatsoever. We need to do some changes, and it's not 3 days or 4 days that you're going to build a team. You need more time, as you can see with Croatia and Germany, they spend more than 2 weeks together, practicing, like getting everything, all the tactics, all the mechanics, seeing what which player can do, what he cannot, stuff like this. And it's not 3 days. You're not going to accomplish anything with 3 days, but you at least 2 weeks together, so you can have a proper preparation for a World Championship or a European Championship.
Well spoken. And also when you see young players, Portuguese players like the Costa brothers, like Martim and Kiko, who have spoken about how important beach handball is to them as players and how much it helps them. They need to, and it's not just a Portuguese issue, but you think in Portugal also the way that that beach handball is so fitting for the country that there should be a bit more balance in there. Yeah,
it's just easy for us. Like all of us, we're at least maximum 20 kilometers from the beach, which is nothing. You can go there for like in 20 minutes, half an hour. You're there. You do 2 hours of practice and you come back home. That's it. But unfortunately, like you said, Kiko and Martin, which were amazing before when they were not playing in Sporting. They were amazing in the youngsters. They played in the European in Poland and stuff like this, and they would be a great help for the national team in beach handball. I don't think that both of them would be able to go, but at least one of them would be, something that could help the team. And unfortunately, it's not possible. But we'll see in the future.
I think we can wrap it up there for today on our beach handball chat. Marcio, joy as always. We got a good 30 minutes of chat there about the World Championship. Thanks for joining us, and maybe we'll get you on again for the World Games in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it will be awesome. And don't forget, Chris, you can use that phrase that I gave you.
And I think you're going to have to use it now, Marcio, seeing as you're on the pod here.
No, okay, I'll use it. Okay. Beach handball is very simple. It's 4 against 3, and in the end, Germany wins.
There you go. Simple as that. Is that something we're actually going to come back to fear in the future years with this incredibly young German team winning everything? Time will tell.
Alex was saying Germany's back, so who knows?
There you go. Good stuff, Marcio. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. See you later.